Dun dun. Don't worry, the soap opera is not continuing. I have got Ricky J. Norwood with me. Welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. It's that time again. It is that time. 40 hours away from the drama. We're back for some more. If you are listening, sorry to do that with Rick's here. For the first time, you can find us. We're on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're across all major audio platforms. We're, of course, on X. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook too. And look, the audio, obviously, listeners can't see this. We've got three beaming faces here because we have reached the end of the pathway. We've reached the end of the season. Look at everybody smiling. The jubilant scenes on the Tottenham High Road as we finally have our last preview of the season. I tell you what, God help us for next season with Dynamo Donuts, cheeky girls to come. Crackers will be here on ITV Plus 4 and BE. Ricky Norwood will be here somehow. We'll make that work. What have we got to come next season? Don't worry about it. We'll focus on the now. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. If you're always for the first time, you can find us on iTunes. We're on Spotify. We're across all major audio platforms. Probably soon to be on many soap opera dramas. Hence why Richter's been here for the last 7 years, trying to get away, but I refuse to let him. Lots to discuss. Let's bring in our wonderful panel for this evening. I'm joined by Ricky Norwood, Christina Zanders, and Sam Lee and Cornish. Back. Ricks, welcome back, mate. Thank you so much. Never a dull moment. Here we are again, my man.
Oh my gosh, never a dull moment when you're supporting Tottenham Hotspur. But, you know, always great to be back on with you and a beautiful panel. And what a week we've had. I'm sure we'll delve into a lot of the things that have been going on this week. But looking forward to this season being done and dusted and looking to brighter days ahead because there has been green shoots. And I think there is, now that we have a direction and somewhere to go and something to believe in, I think there will be brighter days ahead. Because there better be, mate. There bloody well better be, let me tell you. But yeah, let's get into it, man.
Can I just say, that's been Rick's opening for the last 7 years on this podcast. We're still going with it. And listen,
I'm still going, bruv.
At some point, that's got to work. At some point, it's got to work. Joining Rick's back on the panel, never a dumb one. Look, she always brings the positivity and the hope. I wonder how she's feeling right now. We're delighted to have Christina Zanders back alongside us. Chris, you are smiling. I wonder inside if that is true. How are you? Love to have you join us. You okay?
Yeah, got there. Oh, almost Friday. Honestly, Tottenham Hotspur, more drama than EastEnders, literally. Can't wait to be discussing, see what you guys, your thoughts and opinions on, with this week, because I'm interested as well. So, I'm just glad that this is going to be the last preview.
It's just been, it sounds crazy. Although it's been, I think, the shortest season in the last 10 or 12, this has felt like a bloody long slog towards the end. And it's just been, like I say, one of those topsy-turvy roller coaster rides that I think for many, they can't wait to get off and hopefully board another express train somewhere else. Look, delighted to have this man back on Last Word on Spurs. He's been photoshopping away with that camera down the high road in the stadium. It means Sam Liam Cornish is back for a second show. We've squeezed him in for the season. Sam, how are you? You well?
We got there. Yeah. Thanks for having me back on. Nice to be with you guys. Doing well. Really looking forward to Sunday, contrary to probably what most people are feeling, but I am buzzing for Bramall Lane in the sunshine and getting behind the team.
Absolutely. Let's hope, Sam, they're ready to give us one final hurrah for the season in a positive way. I mean, look, it has been an absolutely crazy week to be a Spurs fan. I think, look, for many of us, the drama started long time ago, but for neutrals, this is really our football club. It is up and down. I know many that look at Spurs from maybe the lower leagues think, what are you moaning about? You're fifth in the league. You know, got good players, but it just feels with Tottenham, there's always some kind of soap opera, some kind of drama brewing. And we go into this final week of the season with maybe some more questions and answers at the moment. And what I will say for our listeners on audio, listen, we'll get some more news in relation to where things stand with Angie's words, obviously, after the Arsenal game, which I think is prevalent in a lot of people's mind. And, you know, I think much will be hopefully good feelings around that once we hear him in that pre-match press conference to Sheffield United. For our listeners on audio, which of course will be later today for those that are listening on the Friday morning commute, I think, look, we'll be interested to see what Angie's comments are on the back of what was a interesting night in N17. Ricks, I won't dive too much into the game, but look, much of the talk around it was, of course, centred around whether Tottenham fans wanted their own team to win due to the significant boost it would have given Arsenal in the Premier League title race. Look, it was a topic that has left, at the time, many Spurs fans divided ahead of kickoff, and that tension ultimately did lead to a very, very strange atmosphere at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Many unsure who to root for. And for others joining in with anti-Arsenal chants before proceedings, we heard rumours of around the fact that Spurs fans are selling tickets to Arsenal supporters. I mean, Ange made it very, very clear before the game that he could not understand the mindset of wanting Spurs to lose. And look, I think it's fair to say he allowed his temper to get the better of him once on the occasion there. And I think, again, I'm not too sure to go too hard on Ange Postecoglou. The man is ultimately a winner. He's trying to change the mentality around the football club. And I think what actually happened from what sparked afterwards, which we will cover on this show, is that Spurs actually had a really good performance against Man City, pushed them all the way, absolutely had chances to take something from the game. Many would have argued that it would have been the perfect outcome for them. Spurs showed a lot of heart, courage, promise for the next season, and demonstrated they can play slightly different in terms of having a plan B, but ultimately lost on the evening. Rix, what's your takeaways from that last 48 hours and your feelings now? Because you look quite puzzled. And I mean, again, people can read your mind a lot on Arsenal and Spurs. You're one of the most positive fans that we have on here, and you're loved and adored for that. But even you look a bit shell-shocked.
Hey, you know what? For me, the game was a weird game with a weird atmosphere that you could feel through the screen. And I mean, if you was lucky enough to be in the stadium at the time, I'm sure you would have felt it in there. For me, it was really a weird one. You know, I've always been Tottenham first. You know, I love this team inside and backwards. And you know, not only do I spend my time on podcasts, or you know, I spend my time reading articles or checking X, or you know, watching documentaries or YouTube videos, you know, and as well as the games. And so for me, I've always been, I've never really cared about them not down the road. You know, I lived through the moment of them celebrating winning the league at White Hart Lane, and that was painful enough, you know. And I am more about Tottenham than I am about anybody else. I love Tottenham more than I hate anybody else. So for me, I wanted us with the kind of the opportunity to finish in the top four still, even though it was a very slim chance. There was something to fight for. There was something to go for, and I wanted us to go out there and win. And I feel that the night became all about the Gooners, everything about it. I felt that it wasn't about Man City, Tottenham at all. You know, I'm, you know, even when it's unlikely that we might get a result against a massive team, on this podcast and every other podcast that I've done, I never back my team to lose ever, even when it's the most unlikely. I always back us to win. I always want.
We know it, brother. We know it.
You know, I always want them to win, and I want the best for them always. And it's all about Tottenham first for me. You know, so I don't think. Look, fans feel how they want to feel, and I'm part of the group. And the majority went the other way, then I would have gone on the night. But at the same time, we're a fan group, and I think we're lucky that Postecoglou showed that type of reaction. And I tell you why. It's because there has to be a moment of change for us too. You know, to make it about another team, as we did on that night, all of us. I just felt that it just made me a bit icky. It made me feel a bit weird about the whole situation. And I think that we're lucky that we got Postecoglou. And yes, he's had a reaction in the press and in you know, on the touchlines and stuff like that. But he needs us to change the same way Pochettino needed us to change back in that day. It's not about them; it's about us. You know, and to have a manager that's been around the world and flabbergasted to actually see fans want their own, be in their own stadium at home against the top side and want them to lose for the benefit or not of another team, I think blew his head to pieces. But I think it's great that we've got him, and it's great that he's kind of had this reaction, because not only will he change the mindset of the players on the field, but he's going to change, you know, the staff and us fans too. You know, we're going to change our mindset. Because all we want is the same thing: is for Tottenham to succeed and to be successful and to lift trophies, and so that we can big them up every single week, and we all need to be on the same hymn sheet come next season. So I think really and truly it was a good thing that happened at the right time for all of us to actually get behind this team, because we've still got a game to play and we've still got 3 points to earn, because believe it or not, Chelsea of all teams are on our tail now. So hopefully it's a good thing that happened. But it was a mad 48 hours. It was a mad game. It was, everything about it was mental. and I'm sure we'll jump into it.
You know, Rick, it's interesting you say the points there. Many again will agree and echo those thoughts in relation to having that change in mentality. I just look at it and think that is just one of the most weirdest situations where, in my opinion, I don't think anyone is really wrong, but it's one of those things where the club and the majority of fans can't be on exactly the same page, given the nature of the permutations and the dramatic consequences of what could have happened on the night. I can see Christina in the background there trying to compose herself. I mean, Chris, it was a really weird evening. And to be fair, look, the whole thing around it, the 48 hours beforehand, was just, again, very, very strange. I can't say often in my life that I've ever had those feelings going into a game where my mind was seriously clouded about what the right thing was to do. And Ricky there, bless him. Look, I think the great thing is Rick says it as it is for him. He can separate rivals and be able to put his team first. And, absolute credit to him for that, because I know not everybody can do that. I mean, Chris, looking back now, the reality is Spurs were really good on the night. They had a new system. They worked really hard at it. They made it difficult for City on a number of occasions. And again, they really could have got something from it. And I tell you what, I think the biggest frustration for some that would have wanted to win the game, I say some, a lot would have wanted to win the game, is that had they played like that in the last few months, I'm looking at the Liverpool game, the Newcastle game, the Fulham game, the games we had, Chelsea, of course, as well, we'd be in a lot better position in the league coming in to this final day of the season. So where are you, Chris, in regards to everything Spurs at the moment?
I mean, I highly respect Ricky's opinion on this. For me, though, I was completely the opposite. I went to the game. I was absolutely petrified before the game. The atmosphere was incredibly strange. There was hardly, we usually go into the game and there's like fans chanting, like getting everyone ready for the game. There was absolutely none of that from what I experienced. It was just a weird vibe. And I was one of the fans that actually was happy to sit there and watch us lose against Man City, because for me, I could not bear the fact of our own team, our own club, in our own home, doing a favour for our rivalry, Arsenal. To me, it sickens me if that was to happen. And call me pathetic. I know a lot of people will say that, but that is just generally my opinion. I know a lot of Arsenal fans were absolutely fuming about it with the result, and I was here for it because that's exactly the reaction that I wanted from them. But, all in all, though, with the actual game itself, I thought we played really, really well. And it's just such a shame, like you said, Ricky, why did we not start playing like that? Like, with all these other games that we had previously, because we would never have been put into that position in the first place. And I think that was what was the most frustrating part of it, was the fact that we put ourselves in there. So, I did really think that it was a very good play from Tottenham. I actually thought it was quite a well-balanced game. I know that they obviously won, but I was quite impressed with the boys. And I don't know if you guys got the feel of it, but I generally felt like our players were kind of okay with losing as well. My honest opinion with that Sonny miss, I felt like it was purposely done. I don't know why, but it just felt like it was done on purpose. I don't think he wanted to have that responsibility to basically make Arsenal the title winners. I generally felt that way. And I think that was the whole frustration with Ange itself. It was more because if the players went up for it, it was also the fans that were like influencing that, that feel. And God knows what was going on behind the scenes, like in the changing rooms, whatever, if there was jokes going around about it, or I don't know. But I just feel, I'm sure we're going to, actually get into more detail with Ange, the situation and everything. But for me, I was happy to see that loss. But at the same time, I was also really happy to see us play quite well. So we'll go from there.
You know what's interesting, Chris? I will bring in Sam in there. I've got to disagree with you on that. I thought the players, to be fair to them, I thought they all wanted to win. And I might be wrong. I actually felt Sonny's miss was genuine. I think that's what actually frustrated me the most. I was sitting there thinking, in the one game where everyone is so divided, why are we giving everything in this one? What about the previous four? That's what really it was blowing my mind. And I was seeing the absolute frustration online, which I know Ange seemed to gauge that, we need counselling. if you're a social media follower of Tottenham. Look, I would go far to say, Ange, and I know Ange's family watches this show. Ange, I'll go as far as say that we all need counselling as Spurs fans. Forget, regardless if you're online, offline, anywhere around the planet or wherever you are around the world, we all need counselling as Spurs fans, believe me, no matter who you are. So I just, you know what? The crazy thing about it, Sam, coming over to you, is that, as I've mentioned, it took to game 30 week 7 for Ange to tweak the system from what we could see on the eye test, because, we had a formation that was rather interesting. It set a lot of people talking. Obviously, Spurs were without the out-and-out striker in Richarlison, and also we had to contend with the injury to Basuma, so we had Dragoshin come in, handed that rare start as Mickey van der Ven moved across to left back. We had Højbjerg and Bentancur come into the side, and, we had respectively the flanks where we had Pat Matassar and James Maddison interchanging at times in a false 9. It was certainly an unusual role for both players, but you know what? I've got to say, I thought Spurs handled the occasion ever so well, and I've got to say that was probably one of the best starts we've had to a game in a long, long time. So before we come into Ange's comments, which has dominated a lot of the last 48 hours, were you fairly proud of the overall performance, Sam, in terms of what the players gave on the night?
Yeah, it was an incredibly strange night, as everyone said, and everyone was there felt. For me, I was stood sort of a few seats away from some gooners on my left, a couple on my right. I basically just lost my head and just ended up laughing at them the entire night, which was a really, really bizarre way to watch a football match when someone whose team isn't playing is there, wanting your team to win. There's people in the ground that aren't feeling the same way, even though it's their team. There was just so much complexity to it. And honestly, I never want to feel that way again going into a game. It was really, really horrific. I still feel like a bit gross. Like I need to just have another 3-5 showers to clean the ick off. But yeah, as you said, it was really nice to see some tactical versatility from Ange, and yeah, super proud of how the boys played. I think I probably disagree with you, Chris, on the other than the sunny chance. I think the boys put up a really good fight and played some really sharp football, sort of almost back to that early season tiki-taka, if you like, out of the back, and driving forward and cutting through the lines. Exactly the Tottenham that we want to be watching. But yeah, also, like you say, it's frustrating that we haven't seen enough of that Spurs this month when we've needed it most, right? Because we wouldn't have been in this position that we were all feeling on Tuesday night had we have, played in the first half against Arsenal or showed up against Chelsea. There's been a couple of really, really poor performances along the way that have led us to be in this position, and we could have easily have had Champions League wrapped up going into the game this weekend, but unfortunately it wasn't the way, and I'm still optimistic about next season. It's just a shame that was like the last home game of the season, and it sort of left everyone walking away after 19 of those, and that was by far the worst one that I'm sure most Spurs fans have been to in their life, just because of the awkwardness of it all. But on the pitch, I think, proud of how they did.
Yeah, no, I do agree with that. I mean, it's just been a whirlwind last 48 hours. For our listeners on audio, we want to play you out how the world and the media have reacted to this last 48 hours. We're going to come in on the back of that. For our watching audience there, we've played a short snippet in regards to the way the world has reacted to Spurs over this last 48 hours. Plenty of Jason Cundy in there. You guys all know on TalkSport and how he's reacted to Spurs and the horror of some in relation to where that game went. You know what? Again, we'll come on to the Ange comments. Look, Ange, of course, was brought in to be the opposite to Antonio Conte, but he did sound a lot like his predecessor on the night, railing around the mentality of Tottenham. Many asked the question, did he go full Conte? Did he go half Conte? Look, it wasn't as brutal. It also wasn't as specific. And I think that's maybe half the problem, where we're going to hear from Ange later today in the pre-match presser with Sheffield United. So be really interesting to get, obviously, the way he'll come across first time since, of course, Tuesday evening. But I think it'll be really fascinating because ultimately, look, his tenure so far, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, Rick, coming over to you, it's been built on real positivity, togetherness. And it was a real surprise, I think, to see such a big pivot from him. And we'll just have to see really if this is a new policy that he's going to adopt or if he will go slightly back on his words. Because you know what? There's been so much good of Ange coming to the football club. I know there's been real concerns over the nature of Spurs' recent form. 5 defeats in the last 7, 2 clean sheets in the last 27. Spurs in the form table 11th at the moment. Away form 16th. I will stop saying that. I'm so sorry. Rick, tell me your thoughts at the moment with relation to Ange's comments for you, because you've stood by that man so far in relation to there being a need to change the mentality. Was it just a real surprise from him? Did he just misread the room? What do you take away from those comments, and how do you feel he will react moving forward?
I think with Ange, I think you got to look at it from his point of view. He has never seen this type of situation before, and his mission is to get us winning and to get us to succeed and to get us to glory. That's his mission. He's seen where we've come from, in the sense that we've been starved of success, and we've been starved of trophies and glory for years, and he sees how frustrated we are. So his job is to come in and to change the whole side, and to get a winning mentality, and to get a fluid, front-footed, attacking football philosophy into the boys and into the football, and to get us going in the right direction fundamentally, especially from where we was going last year. He had an interview on Optus Sports not too long ago where he actually said, you know, we finished 8th, but we was 8th going in the wrong direction. It's not like we was 8th on the up. We was actually going in the wrong direction. And all of us Tottenham fans know that. You know, I was dismayed at the end of that season. So he's done well to turn his ship around, and he's had 101 problems, including, you know, Harry Kane leaving and stuff like that. So when it comes down to, he's kind of, you know, he's come into a place that starves of success, and, you know, he's putting in everything to try and change that mentality. Yes, we've had a couple of really bad defeats, and that's going to affect the side. And yes, we had an opportunity not only for Champions League in our hands to secure it and to step up, but also we had it in our hands to derail our neighbours down the road ourselves only a couple of games ago. It didn't come off for one reason or another. But he has put this side to an assessment, and he's seen that. If he's seeing, he's already seen from a playing point of view who he can rely on, who he can trust, who he wants moving forward. And then he's come up to this game with this sticky situation where, you know, maybe he didn't really understand how deep the rivalry is between the two sides. And, you know, not only has he kind of seen it in the press and seen it from some of the staff we're reading now, that's maybe some of the staff were joking around about losing the game against Man City, who support Tottenham, that are in the ground, and he's lost his head, and he is flipped on the other side, and you just cannot believe how, if we're striving for success, that we would want to lose against anybody for the benefit or for the derailment of any other side apart from our side. And to have somebody that is, you know, that has seen that, of course, it's knocked him off his perch. You know, it's sent him a bit crazy, but he's never been the warm, fuzzy bear that we make him out to be. He has been jovial. He has been good. But when he's had something serious to say, he's said it. We've seen that when researching, and when he signed, he has that famous spat in Australia with the Australian sports presenter, where he goes back and forth as international manager, and he's not a warm fuzzy bear there either.
No.
So when something really does tackle him in his stomach, in his chest, you're gonna see that side of him, and it's good to have that side of him, because not only will he change the players on the field, but he's going to change the mentality of the management around, and the system and the structure around, because we're all gonna buy into this system. We're all going to follow this system now, and fundamentally change all of us into that same state where we're like, we don't care about anybody else. It's about us and what we do next season, and what we achieve next season, because that's what we're going for. We're going for the glory. So that's why I think he's had an emotional reaction, and I think you can allow an emotional reaction, and I think you can even thank him for having that emotional reaction. What if the reaction was the other way? What if he came in laughing, going, ha ha, the Gooners ain't going to win this year? I
Yeah, I
mean,
totally
it
agree.
would have
Yeah.
it would have made all of us laugh for a second, but then where is that manager's mentality? Do you
Very
know what
true.
I mean? Where are we
Yep.
going as a club if somebody doesn't want to step up and win, doesn't want to go out to win for any other reason than for Tottenham Hotspur? Do you know what I mean? So I think, you know, just put it that way around. If it was the other way around, and on the ticket thing, I honestly I can't. It really gets me. It's almost sacrilege to sell your ticket to a gooner. Can any of us watching, listening
Yeah,
on the panel right now?
I can't understand or comprehend that part. Yeah.
Would you buy a gooner ticket to go and sit in the home end
Never.
at the
No.
Gooner Stadium? Anyone? For any reason? Nah, see, I just don't get it. So there was a lot of things that got me. Do you know what I mean? And there was a lot of things that got Ange for reasons that he wants to change and reasons where he wants to go forward. So I don't know whether he'll backtrack on his comments, but I think that he will definitely be in a place where he would like to draw a line under it. He's assessed what he's needed to assess. He's going to want people in that building, coaching and on the field playing that only want to win for Tottenham. And that is positive for us.
Yeah, just interesting. Bob, big friend of the show here. Bob, hope you're well. Bob Dwyer says here, Ange misread the room. All he had to say was our fans have been great and they spend their money and they can support the team how they want. And I think that's the thing. I think what happened is with Ange kind of leaving it and not elaborating further, he's left it open to a lot of interpretation over these last 48 hours where, quite frankly, if we actually got to the crux of who he was actually aiming this mentality thing at, that would have, I think, resolved a lot of the confusion and speculation around these last 48 hours. And you know what, Chris, bringing you in, look, again, we've heard from numerous different sources over these last 48 hours. The Telegraph have reported that Postecoglou's rant provoked some fears among supporters that he was hinting at a wider discontent and that cracks could already be appearing between himself and Spurs. However, that has been dismissed by Telegraph Sport, by Tottenham sources, and those who know Ange, who stressed that his frustration at the build-up of the match and his reaction of some fans who cheered City goals simply sent him to boiling point. Some within Tottenham have been keen to secure a top four finish, but recognise that the progress has been made under Ange in charge and believe that that approach will pay off in the long term. Spurs are reportedly looking to back him in the summer transfer window. And again, have recently been publicly hinting at his desire to continue to make changes to the squad, which Ange has done. Quite interestingly, The Athletic put out a couple of different articles before I bring you in here, Chris. They suggested that originally Ange wants to change the complete culture of the group at Tottenham, which includes both the staff and the players. Most aggravating of all to Postecoglou was the sense that a few club staff members, as Rick touched upon there, many of whom are Spurs fans, have been quite relaxed about the possibility of losing in City because of the title race context, while the majority of club staff have been focusing on their work as normal. And the prospect of losing to City had been a theme of jokes amongst a minority of the staff for the past week. When one member of the staff joked to Ange that he should play a youth team against City, he was reportedly furious. Postecoglou's mood then deteriorated in recent weeks, given the bad results, but the dynamic lit the fuse in him, and the whole notion of being happy to lose a game had sincerely shocked him. One of those that witnessed the spat between Ange and a fan, which had circulated around social media, said it came about of a suggestion from a supporter that Postecoglou was more passionate about the prospect of beating City than any other opponent in these last few weeks. A comment which would understandably upset the manager, and that led to the fan being removed from the stadium. Now, quite interestingly, an update then was come up from the Athletic, in which they said Ange was clear from his comments on Tuesday night that the previous 48 hours had been his most challenging spell at Spurs. He did not want to be drawn on specifics, but the head coach said these 2 days had revealed a fair bit to him about issues both inside and outside the football club, almost as those that come back of the theme of the last few days in relation to whether Spurs want to beat Manchester City, if it meant, of course, Arsenal in the league. Now, Postecoglou has been an expert at shutting down external noise and focusing on the job in hand, and that narrative has become unavoidable even inside the club. He made his views clear on the Monday press conference beforehand that he had no interest in bragging rights, and after the game, he couldn't hide his frustration at the subdued atmosphere. Obviously, as we touched upon, he's been caught on camera having an interchange with a fan, but contrary to suggestions that the fan had told Ange to throw the game, one witness said, as I reported in that previous article there, why had he not shown that same animation earlier in the season rather than just against City, which led to that fan being ejected. But again, the most aggravating of all to Ange, which we've already touched upon here, is the fact that some of the staff members, many of whom are Spurs fans, had been really relaxed about potentially losing the game. And that is reportedly what got Ange to absolute balling point. I must just say that at one point when a Spurs supporter joked that Spurs should play a U team, the manager was furious. But it is worth noting that despite the Athletic putting this article together, Spurs have firmly denied any of this. I mean, look, a lot of this will hopefully be resolved in the next few hours for our listeners on audio. Andrew's going to hold his press conference against Sheffield United. We're going exactly where we stand on here, one way or another. But in this moment right now, Chris, on the back of me reading you these articles, what do you make of it for you?
Look, before I say anything, I'm fully Anjin, by the way, and I've always said that on this pod. I think he's a real special manager, and I truly hope we're going to see some incredible memories under this manager. But with all of this talk, with everything that happened during and after the Man City game, the way he obviously kind of took it out on the fans as well, I just feel like he needs to realize that game was such a unique situation that we got ourselves into. There's been fans that I know who have made so much commitment, so much of their time and money to go and support us this season, and it's been a hell of a roller coaster for sure, And it's just to me, it's like it because it was such unique. It's like just kind of understand where some of us are coming from with this whole, with the rivalry and everything. To me, I felt like he should have been passionate about that after the North London derby. It was just really frustrating to hear that from him. But I just hope that he can kind of realize now, I'm taking it as a positive with that reaction, that he now knows what needs to be dealt with at this club. But as I've said it, I was here for the loss. I just couldn't handle it. I mean, what are we going to do? And looking back at the history, if we got into top four from that game, are we going to look back and be like, yeah, great, you got into top four, that was a great whatever that game. But it would have been in our heads all the time from Arsenal winning the title, that it was because of us. And that would have been going on and on and on and on all the time. The Gooners would have loved it, absolutely loved it. And I can't bear that. I generally can't bear that. So for me, I feel like the season is done for us. I feel like on Sunday, we're going to have to get ourselves into Europa. I feel like that is a better situation to be in for us at the moment. I feel like Champions League is too high for us at the moment. We're not at that level yet. But I feel like Europa is a lot better for us, especially now with the changes in the rules. It's really difficult because I understand with Ange at the same time, because he's hungry for success, but so are we. We are gagging for it.
You've said it right there, Chris. For me, I just think it's, as you said, as I've kept on saying on Sky as well in these last 48 hours, this is a really unique situation that, please God, we should never have to go through again.
Never. But that's, again, I've said it before. We should have never been in that situation in the first place.
No. We put ourselves in that situation as well. We put ourselves in that situation.
Of course.
And
to
the
be honest,
last 4 games.
Same as Arsenal. Arsenal shouldn't be relying on us to win a game for them to win a title. We're just as bad as each other, realistically, in the sense of the rivalry. We are. And if it was the other way around, of course they would be going on about it the same way that we did, with all these losses, for us to lose and everything. The jokes would have been going on and on with them.
Let me ask you, Chris. Let me ask you, on Ange, are you expecting him to rebuke in any way? Do you see there being any form of him coming into that presser today and saying, you know what, hold my hands up, I don't, with relation to the fans have got a right to their opinion, my job is to focus on the team? What I will just say, and I think he's absolutely right on this, I don't agree that the coaching staff should be joking around, because there's got to be a separation.
They're the professionals.
You've got your fans and you've got your staff members and you've got the players, and there should be no line there being crossed. And that's why I agree what Ricky said in his intro there. The players should be given absolutely everything. This should not come into question about their commitment, their effort, their desire, their application. It's two different things, being a fan and being a paid being a paid employee of the football club. And that's where that line needs to be drawn. So are you expecting any sign, Chris, there to be some kind of rebuttal from Ange?
I think he will actually, to be honest, I think a lot of his reaction, I feel, was a bit bigged up, because I actually think he wants to send a message to people who are higher up in the club, if you know who I mean. So that's where I feel about this. And that's why I kind of feel go for it and do it, because it's like I said, he's hungry for success. And if he gets the players that he knows that he can get, that help the team, he knows his, we spoke about his philosophy, where he plays his football. So if he can get those players, I feel we can get success out of him, So
he wants it so badly. That's what I love about him. You know what?
100%.
Listen, I'm not going to lie. And for those that watch me, I'm not going to try and kid you. I have my doubts, and people know that I've got my doubts. I'm not going to hide away from the fact that I have got doubts. But you know what? I'll come to you, Sam. It's taken to week 37. We nearly got there, and we've gone and broken another one. I mean, we were doing so well, weren't we?
So well. So well, hey? Yeah, if you've got a manager you think's great, send him to Tottenham. We'll break him for you. It's all good. Now, my take on it all, honestly, is that I think there's probably got to be empathy both ways, right? Like, I think everyone here has touched on that. He's got the winning mentality. He wants to win games. That's what he's paid to do, mate. He is always going to put the club first, put himself first, and that is the same thing. And I think fans have to understand that. I don't think you've got to be mental if you think that he was going to come out and say that he was happy to lose, or we took it lightly, or he was going to play the youth team. Like, no one seriously believed any of that. But yeah, I think on the flip side to that is I probably would have liked a little bit more empathy for the awkward situation that we were in, or most of us felt that we were in. But I understand why he's had the blow up. He's remained such a cool cucumber throughout the season, and he's put up with a lot of crap. He came into a really tough situation, like you said as well. Kane leaving, a squad that was a shambles, and he's got tons of players out on loan that he wants to shift off. They're saying that they're talking about 13 players that they want to move on or something. He's got a big job on his hands, and this is just the first season of hopefully plenty to come. And I think zooming out on the bigger picture, I think we've had a fantastic season. I know that recency bias a lot of fans will think that I'm crazy for saying that, but if you'd have said to me fifth coming into the season with this guy that's from Australia who has a last name that no one can pronounce,
we got a few Greeks in that can. Don't knock us, Sam.
Yeah, I'm an Aussie myself, and I'm just talking for the wider fan base. A lot of people were saying.
In the corner there, just holding her back in the corner. Don't worry, we'll get him afterwards, Chris. We'll get him afterwards.
Yeah, we'll do the Zorba together and correct things. No, I just think that, zooming out, we've got to just kind of get the season done, like you said, and look at the bigger picture. I know that people say that this is how things are trending, but I disagree. I think we played great football on Tuesday night in a tough situation against a treble-winning side, and we've shown enough promise throughout the season that things are going to be good. And I think he's going to address the issues, showed enough tactical nuance against one of the best sides in the world on Tuesday night. So I think there's a lot of promise there. I understand the way that he's feeling. I'd be livid if there was people joking about at work when there was a situation that I was taking something really seriously and people weren't on the same wavelength as me. I feel like we've all been there in life.
Great point. It's a really great point. That
So I feel like, as a fan, I get it. I don't think it's as deep as we're all making out. Much like the atmosphere in the ground, I feel like the majority of fans were singing "Come on, you Spurs" and getting behind the side. So social media, it's kind of hard to get a gauge for it. I feel like the craziest, most outlandish voices often rise to the top, and that's what we see. Unfortunately, that's the way that these things are built. But in the ground, I think people were still getting behind, and unfortunately, it's taken one idiot that was shouting at him from the bench that's caught the headlines, and everyone thinks our fan base has lost the plot.
I think whatever you say, look, and whoever that fan is, or if they even were a Tottenham fan, who knows? I mean, Rick touched upon it earlier. Who knows where those tickets were going on the night? I mean, the reality is, I'll never fault a manager for wanting to win a game. I mean, that's what he's paid to do. That's his job, and the players are sent out there to win. So, look, I think we should all be on the same page as Ange on that part, that if he's being asked, not to win the game, the guy's a professional. He's an ultra winner, like you say there, Sam. And that guy, wherever he's gone, I think this is what we need to bear in mind with Ange. I'm not trying to tell people what they should and shouldn't feel. That's not my job to do that. It's up to you guys out there that come and listen and watch Last Word on Spurs every week to take away what we feel, and you make your own mind up. The show is there just to provide a platform for us all to talk, and for you guys, like all of us out there, we have our opinions, and it's up to you to feel what you do. But I just wonder on this, Sam, in your opinion, does he owe the supporters an apology? Does he need to step back a bit? What do you feel you're going to see on that Friday press conference for you?
I don't know. I empathise with him, like I was saying. Personally, I don't expect an apology because I understand his frustration. He was put in an impossible situation really with the fans, right? Like it was awkward for him because he could have gotten 3 points out there and given the fist pumps to the fans, and he probably would have been heckled, It's a bizarre night, like we've all said. And in my opinion, I just think like if we almost like never speak about it again, we get the job done on Sunday and it's forgotten. Fingers crossed, City get the job done as well. And we can just move on. We just start the season fresh, clean slate, like it didn't happen. And I'm personally not going to be fuming if he doesn't apologise. I just want him to crack on with his job and win games like he's paid to do. And he's had the correct attitude in my opinion. I think it would have taken. I think most of us would have had a meltdown like he did at the night if we were in charge and all the commotion was going on. So I empathise with him.
Yeah, I think you said it there, Sam. I think what we'll do is we will just leave it there because ultimately we could be going round and round in circles, and we will get that clarification from him on Friday where this conversation becomes redundant and tells us hopefully what we want to hear. But I mean, what I will just very quickly say is that in the last 48 hours, I've been contacted by numerous Australian supporters of Ange Postecoglou that have made it very, very clear to me that, Ricky, you don't know what you're talking about if you're not in the right mentality when it comes to the fact that this man wants to win and he will never pass up an opportunity to win. And again, first thing I got to say, for those that do listen and watch this show, for wherever you are around the world, we greatly appreciate it. We love, obviously, the interaction. We love the fact you're coming to tune in and watch us. I think the hard thing is, and I've said this before, and Lee, bless him, has said it on here, we've been scarred as a fan base for the last 20 odd years. So the thing is that when you get a glimpse, like we had in those opening 10 games, that you've got something amazingly special, and at the first point of it going slightly wobbly, we react. I think someone just puts it perfectly here. I don't want to take Sam's accent away from us here. That's just who we are, mate, if I'm being honest with you. And the reality is that, you know what? It's not Angie's fault. It's not the Australian fans' fault that come in here and ultimately want us to, as Ricky has kind of said at the opening intro there, have that mentality where the sole focus should be on us. The problem with Tottenham fans is that we've not seen that success on a sustained basis. And that's why we have this, as you know, Rick, coming over to you, at the first point of a concern, it's a crisis. It's a drama. I opened the show saying it's a soap opera. Maybe it isn't. Maybe I have overblown it, but it feels like that, Rick, doesn't it? I mean, what would you say to those Australian watchers, listeners that watch Angie's career and come to podcasts like this that have their man and can't quite understand our reaction at times?
We have been scarred, and there are a lot of wounds, and we've been the nearly men for a long time. So it hurts every time that we just about get there and then we miss out. It hurts even more, and Ange is almost, by taking the job, has almost taken all of those things on his back, even though they've got nothing to do with him. But that's why I think it's refreshing. He wants to start a new chapter. He wants to start a new book. He wants to start a new story. He doesn't want the kind of that we always fall at the last hurdle. And every time that it's about to, every time it's there for the getting and it's crunch time, that we end up missing out. And I think that's what he wants to do. And I think that we have to all be behind that as well, because I think it is refreshing. I think it is good for the club. I think that he does see the things that really do need to change, inside, outside, and all around it. So it is a crazy reaction from the side, from the whole fan base, from everyone, because it was one of the weirdest situations that this club has been in a while. And we've been through some weird situations. Like, we've dealt with some headlines. And we've also broken, like you were saying there earlier, Sam, we've broken a couple of managers for loads of different reasons. But it does seem that right now that we are in uh, the cracks of change. Ever since Paratici came in, yes, it didn't go swimmingly with Paratici, but he's still there on a consultancy basis, and we start to change that. We start to change our scouting system and what we look for. We started to change to a database system. We started to change lots of different things, and then we brought this manager in. And if you think about when we was looking at managers, before Ange turned up, we was looking at Arne Slot, we was looking at Xabi Alonso, and look what Xabi's done. So the club definitely wanted to change, and this man has come in and he's convinced all of the doubters within those 10 games that, maybe this is it, maybe this is the time. But because we are a fragile bunch, because we do have a lot of scars on us from the past and from missing out, so every time it kind of goes over the hill, that's when we kind of lose our heads again. But if you look at it on a whole, there's been loads of green shoots throughout it, and the changes that he's made, with all of the problems, because we tend to forget the problems and the injuries and the suspensions and the international tournaments and all of the other things, getting back to form after injury and stuff like that. When it's come down to the crunch, at the end of this year, it's all gone over the hill again. But the one thing that is positive is that he sees it, and he sees where the cracks are, and he sees how it needs to be fixed. So if the club are behind him, and the board are behind him, and the fans are behind him, and the players on the field want to play for him. I don't know whether you saw some of Sonny's quotes earlier in the week about how he's all in with this project.
Yep.
If we're all behind it and we go into this summer, because we know we had 101 problems when he turned up, and he's only dealt with 15. Do you know what I mean? So there's still a long way to go. So if we can correct some of those problems again, get the players, get everybody on side, singing on the same hymn sheet, it could be glorious. It could be glorious. And I mean, in the pinnacle of glory, if you look at Bayer Leverkusen, they play the same way. And they've just gone unbeaten the whole damn season, plus cup games. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saying we're going to go unbeaten, but what I'm saying is that this system does work when everybody's on the same page. When the board, the club, the management, the players, everybody and the fans are all behind it and all going in the right direction, that glory can be had, and we can have success with this system, with this manager. So let's draw a line under all of this drama right now. He doesn't have to apologize. It doesn't matter. We're not going to apologize for wanting, and I say we, even though it wasn't something I didn't agree with, but we as a fan base, because I'm part of that fan base, we wanted our own side to lose. Do you know what I mean? On a night against Man City, and all right, cool. We're not going to apologize for that, because we're saying you should know where we're coming from. So let's understand where he's coming from, and let's draw a line under it, because he wants the best for Tottenham. That's fundamentally, that's it, bottom line. So there can be all of the greatness ahead. There can be all of the glory ahead. If we draw a line under it, learn from our own mistakes, fans, inside the club and outside the club, and start to correct it, because the ship has been turning. It's been turning slowly, but it's been turning.
That's been really good words there, Rick. And just to bring in those comments from Heung-min Son, who has called on the fans and the club to come together behind Ange Postecoglou. And he said he's all in on the manager's project. Sonny said, look, we should understand the gaffer. It's his first year. He's brought so much positivity in different football. I know it's sorry to say, we've got so much better for next season, because I still believe he can bring so much success to this football club. I'm all in. I'm loving the way he wants to play. It's the first time I've experienced it. Everybody, the club, the players, also the fans, everybody has to step up, because we have to be all in this together. He's definitely showed he can bring success to the football club. As players, we all wanted to do our best for the club and against City. We didn't really care about anything else. We were only concentrating on what's best for us, for the team. The players, the staff, who had so many sessions, so many games, so many travelling. We just wanted to do the best for them. We didn't want to do anything else. I'm human. He obviously missed a really good opportunity. He said that the keeper made a really good save, and I take that responsibility not to score that big chance for the team, because the team was working really, really hard and trying to get a good result. Look, big words there from Sonny. He is the captain of the football club. And look, what we are going to do, we are going to turn our attention to, of course, Spurs' final home game of the season. Home game? Away game of the season. You can tell it's been a long season, guys. Some of us can't wait for it to come to an end. My wife being one. We are going to go for our final break of the show for our listeners that are on audio. I will say massive thank you as always. Over 2,500 of you watching us live on X, on Instagram, across the socials. Thank you so much for all your support, not just on this one, through the season. You guys have been absolutely amazing and heroic, and we love you for it. It's been a shame there's not been more highs, but look, I think for some out there will agree we're at the start of a new project. I know some just say, come on, Rick, get it over, and we get to the summer, let's just have a break from this and just come back for some more pain. We've been doing it for the last 8 years. Why not? I call it therapy. I don't know why. Look, we are in a situation where coming over to the permutations of Europe before we close on Sheffield United, as well as the dramatic title race, the Premier League is heading for a frantic late scramble to decide the final European places this season, with several spots still up for grabs. Now, we do know the good news. Tottenham Hotspur will return to some form of European football. That has been confirmed following the game between Manchester United and Newcastle at Old Trafford, where Manchester United did secure a 3-2 victory on the night. Now, in terms of the permutations ahead of this weekend, for Spurs, there will be no Champions League football for a second successive season. Chelsea have continued their resurgence under former Tottenham boss Mauricio Pochettino and now sit in 6th place in the Premier League, just 3 points behind Spurs going into the final day. Quite amazingly, Chelsea have eaten up a 16-point gap, I'm led to believe, that has closed it to just 3 points between ourselves and the Blues. Christina, I can tell you in the background, the green room is shaking her head. She can't quite understand how that has even happened. Spurs, for them to secure 5th place, have one job and one job only. It's simple. Win or draw against Sheffield United, and it's confirmed regardless of Chelsea's result. But if Tottenham Hotspur do suffer defeat to Sheffield United and Chelsea do beat Bournemouth, Chelsea will leapfrog us in the table for what would have been the first time of the season. It comes on game week 38. Guys, we know it's some form of European football. We'll start with Sam. Sam, how important is it in your mind? It's got to be Europa League and not conference, or do you care?
I think, yeah, it really should be. I think if the question was Champions League or Europa League, personally not super fussed either way. I think we've had the manager telling us all season that top 4 isn't a trophy. Top 4 is not the goal. Top 4 doesn't define our success or our progress as a football club, and I totally agree with him. I think actually Europa League probably suits us better, like Christina was saying earlier, for the development of our squad. I know our whole fan base is dying to see some of our younger players get some more minutes on the park. I think players like Dragusin as well, who hasn't seen as much football as we'd all like as well, but more games gives more opportunity for these guys. So, yeah, I think Europa League and, God help us, but if it's Conference League, then we'll see even more minutes for some of these younger players that we're really excited to see as well. So, yeah, I think it has to be Europa, but if it's Conference, I think there's some positives to that as well. I think this manager needs football games to improve his systems and tactical versatility. Players need time to develop as well, and for fans lucky enough to do a couple of these away days, I'm sure a few of us are licking our lips at the prospects of Prague or Azerbaijan, some cities that we might not visit if it wasn't for our lovely football club. So yeah, I'm easy either way, but I'm thinking we're going to get the job done on Sunday, and it's going to be Europa.
Yeah, I mean, what I would say, depending on who you love on this show, and that's dependent, of course. Jason McGovern's told me he's not here for its conference. Lee McQueen, the diva himself, he's not here for its conference. I've been given the ultimatum that Anthony Costa will come in here for his ITVB for a good old knees up if it is Karabag away on a Thursday. I can hear Rick's phone is already ringing out. He's already getting the request coming through. Rick, it's hard to get one of him anyway, buddy, these days, bless his heart, with what he's got going on in his life. Rick, how important is it for you that we do secure Europa League football next season, not Conference League? Or again, same question to you, are you massively bothered between the two?
No, listen, this is the next thing that we have to get over the line with. This is the next thing that we can secure. It's the next thing that we can achieve. So I think we've got to go for Europa League. It's the highest that we can guarantee finish. And I think overall it would have been a very painful transitional season but one with a little bit to cheer about, one with some progression, especially on last year. And how we finished last year. So, yeah, I think it is important to go for the Europa. I think it's going to be important for the fans to get up and get behind and make a racket at Sheffield United on the weekend. And I think that the boys themselves, I think they need something to cheer, because, the last month or so it's been a tough one. The last couple of weeks have been really tough. So I think they need something to cheer. I think they need to achieve something and something to aspire to next year. So I think, yeah, it's definitely something that we should be 100% going for.
I mean, you looked as shocked as me, Rick, when I said in the green room, when you was in the green room, then I said 16 points difference between us and Chelsea. Yeah. I tell you, Costa's fuming.
He's fuming. He's fuming, but it's we had an opportunity to stop their run as well. We didn't get to do it. It's funny how the season goes, because the way that we started the season, the way that Chelsea started the season, and the way Chelsea's season has gone, and we was all hoping for Champions League and
absolutely,
and for challenging, and now suddenly Chelsea are the ones behind us. Like, it's nuts. But that's football for you, man.
I'm just trying to get to that Europa League theme. I've got to try and deal with that. I mean, Jesus, where
it'll be
a
ringtone next year, bruv.
Oh my God! I'll tell you what, beats the kids as the ringtone. We'll come to you, Chris. Chris, you couldn't believe what I was saying in the green room there, where Spurs are. I mean, that table. Look, I've got to be honest and say that if we can't.
I'm sorry, who is she behind us? Chelsea, where have you been? Literally, it's wild looking at that table right now. I can't believe even the goal difference. They're 13 plus. Yeah,
I mean, look,
we're 10.
It's crazy, isn't it? It's been a crazy. I mean, Chris, in all honesty, I do believe if we can't beat Sheffield United, we do not deserve Conference League. I mean, King Hoddle put it in there earlier. They've won 3 league games all season. They've conceded over 100 goals.
Oh my God!
Ricky Norwood looks like a Spurs fan, doesn't he?
He's wishing it into existence here.
I literally shriveled when I saw that. What King Hoddle said. Oh my God, that honestly, because if we lose and then great, fantastic. But no,
listen, we should be going for it. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I would rather go for Europa, 100%, all the way. That would definitely be my preference. So, like I said, I feel like the league is a lot suited for us at the moment. We're going to get there, guys. We're going to get there. And I know Champions League is glamorous. I know it's beautiful. But in my honest opinion, we're not going to get far in it. And I would rather take things slowly if we're going to progress up now. I'd rather just do that. So, it doesn't happen overnight, guys. It really doesn't happen overnight. And it's like Ricky said before, which I thought was such good words from Ricky, just overall with the season. Like, there has been a huge amount of progress from this season. And annoyingly, there's been very huge losses, which I feel like we shouldn't have had a loss in a lot of these games, which is what made me frustrated, just with all of these, to be in that situation from the City game. But I do see such huge progress. And even with our recruitment now, with the players that we're now looking at, the players that we're buying at the moment, and I think we've got such a special player. Mickey van der Ven is truly, he's becoming almost one of my favorites. Sonny's still my number one, but he really is something special. And we're obviously doing something, we've progressed in that, because I thought our recruitment was absolutely appalling before. We were buying players and, look at where they've ended up. I'm sorry, and Ndombele, look at that situation. It was just horrible. But I really, truly feel like there is such huge potential for us now. And let's slowly get there now. I think Ange is the perfect fit for us. I think everything that's now happened, I'm going to take it. Everything happens for a reason, basically. And, his reaction to it, I hope now he works on it now. He knows exactly what needs to be done. He's gonna get us there and push us all all forward. Not even the players, but everyone in the whole system, basically. Even us fans, help us become more positive, because literally what we have had to deal with being a Tottenham fan has been absolutely painful, so painful. And I'm only 32. I know, fans that are older who've gone through. Actually, to be fair, older fans who've probably seen a lot better than what I have. I've only seen one trophy, which was against Chelsea. What was it? The Carling Cup back in the day. That's the only trophy I've seen. The only one. So come on, Ange, get us something, please. And I'm rooting for him 100%. Happy Kappa FC all the way, because that is me. So yeah, I'm I'm looking forward to next season, and I'm also looking forward to seeing how the transfer window happens. See where we go from there. So yeah.
Amen. Listen, on that point, just also make it very clear in relation to where they are in this European battle before we do get predictions for Sheffield United and what's to come. Sixth place may still be enough for Europa League football, but that will mean if Manchester United win the FA Cup at the end of the month, they would replace the sixth place team in the competition next year, with Conference League football waiting the sixth place instead. Obviously, of course, Man United have Man City in the FA Cup final, and judging by the looks around the room, there's not much confidence. Yeah, thank God it's not a Man United podcast. We'll just concentrate on Spurs. Listen, we are going to go for that final break of the show for our listeners on audio. You're going to hear from Hal from the Sheffield United way, who, believe me, if you don't want to believe this, he is just as unbelievably concerned where their plight is for getting Tottenham out the window. They've considered over 101 goals, Sheffield United. They've won 3 times this season. Look, hopefully Spurs do have enough on the day. I mean, let's go to you, Sam, firstly. Is it a given? Because the reason why I say that is Spurs have suffered some really bad defeats to relegated sides where their fate has already been beknown to them. Many will remember that one against Newcastle United on the final day. Sorry, Rick. Rick thought I was going to try to do this positively. He's collapsed. He's gone already. He's on his 8th season next season. We'll be too open a testimonial at this way. Sam, give us some positivity. Are we going to end the season with a win? Can we end it the right way and send us into the summer really optimistic and positive?
Short answer is yes. Long answer is I'm sure there's a lot of fans out there with some pretty recent PTSD from last season at Bramall Lane, that famous FA Cup night.
Oh, don't get me started. Do not get me started.
Yeah, that was.
Another cup exit. Get me out of this bloody place.
Yeah, I know. But I look back on that, and then I think like where we are now, and we have come such a long way. I think as a fan base and as a team and as a club, like the overall feeling. I know we've just had the worst week in a long time, but the overall feeling is fantastic, and I think we'll finish the season strong, and we're going to finish on a nice note to go into the summer with, to see us off. So I think we'll come away with a 3-0 win, and it'd be nice to see Sonny grab a few goals after his unfortunate miss on Tuesday night.
Yeah, unfortunate, of course. Very unfortunate. Let's go to Chris. We're going to end with Rick. Chris, look, of course, with regards to Sheffield United, they are going to welcome back. And listen, Costa and him in the background. Of course, they're going to welcome back players. People always welcome back players against us. Anil Akamojic is coming back. Mason Holgate from last week's loss. Ben Osborne, George Baldock, Daniel Jefferson, Tom Davis, and Oliver Arblaster all may feature in at least some capacity. We know for Spurs definitively they'll be without Richarlison, Destiny Udogie, Manor Solomon, Fraser Forster, Ibasuma, Ryan Sessegnon, Ben Davies. I feel like this just gets longer and longer every time I read it with Tottenham. Crazy, crazy season. Chris, thoughts on Sheffield United? Are we going to end on a win?
Listen, we got Dragusin. He was absolutely amazing against the City game. I will give him a shout. We've got him. We're going to be fine. Ish. No, honestly, we should beat these guys. Come on, guys. Come. I just hate doing this because I feel like I curse every time I big us up against these teams. The amount of times I did it with Chelsea, I shouldn't be on this show anymore.
Oh, listen, if it was the case, Rick wouldn't be here either.
That's actually very true. It was me and him. So I mean, come on, like we should be hungry for this. We should be hungry for Europa. Hopefully, Andrew will sort them out a little bit. To be honest, if we play against like how we did with City, we should. That's I don't think he should even change the team. I thought it was really good, and even maybe near the end get more youngsters in. I know that they had a huge defeat tonight, but they've been absolutely brilliant this whole season.
They've been superb. They have been
so good, and massive shout out to them because they had, what was it, 3 games this week, you told me. So it's a lot going on with them guys. So yeah, I think give him a chance. It was great to see Dragusin again. I thought he played great. So let's just go and do it, and don't allow, I'm going to be petty again, don't allow Chelsea to be on top of us.
That's fine. I mean, it is absolutely fine. On this point, Rick, before I get your prediction, we've had a question sent to us via email from Martin over in Alpington. Martin, thank you so much for your question. He said, look, if there is time, can you just ask one of the panelists their views on that formation tactic change from Ange against City? Do you think it was injuries that dictated that, or did we at last see some tactical nous that should be used more often? We looked more solid defensively, dictated the midfield for large parts, and were a bit more fluid. I think, again, on that point, Dragushin, would you like to see him start twice in a week? Rick, would that be what you want to see in terms of the lineup? Any real changes for you from that City game?
No, I think he made those substitutions or those additions because he assessed the team over the last couple of weeks. There's some players that needed to be dropped. There's something that needed to change, and he changed it. So I think that is positive. When Ange has spoken about changes over the season, he has spoken about personnel. So when he does bring in let's say a more defensive midfielder, well, that's going to change the way that we set up, etc., etc. But for me, I thought it worked well against City. I felt that we kind of stood up to him. I felt that it was the first time we saw that Ange Ball-esque style of play against them. I felt that we was patient. I didn't feel that we panicked, and it was structurally well aware. I think, but it was glaringly obvious that we was missing a number 9 or some type of striker up there that either made the runs off the shoulder or could hold the ball up to bring others in. I think Sarr done well on the kind of rotation with Maddison up there as a false 9, but it was glaringly obvious we needed somebody up there. So, it's going to be tough to say start Dane Scarlett, but I kind of would like him to get a bit of time. If not to start him, then to at least bring him on in the second half. Maybe give him longer than the 15 minutes that he got the other night. And, and congratulations to Mikey Moore as well for coming on against Man City the other night. But youngest debutant for Tottenham Hotspur, my gosh. And that boy will be a baller. But I would have loved for Dane to come on again, just to kind of add to those minutes that he got previously. And then maybe we could think about throwing him in a bit more, against Sheffield United. So, I think the formation change was a good one. I don't think Ange is silly. I think that he does make tweaks and changes, and he has done over the season. The same philosophy and the same mentality he wants there, but he has tweaked things over the season. So give him credit, and let's build on it again against Sheffield United.
Prediction, Rick?
I'm going, I was thinking 4-1 the other day, but I'm going to go 4-0 actually, because I don't think if that back four starts again, with Van der Ven at left back, I don't think, plus Dragushin in there with Romero, I don't think there's much going to get through there. So I'm going to go with a big statement win. I'm going to go with the crowd getting up and behind him and showing Ange and the boys that, look, we do want to win, we do want to be successful, and we do want to move forward. Do you know what I mean? And especially draw a line after the last game. So I think the crowd are going to be up. I think the boys are going to be up. I think the manager's going to be up. And I think we're going to go out there and kind of let the shackles off and kind of have a big scoreline and make a statement win to end the season.
I can say this is probably Ricky Norwood's 450th episode, and in those 450 episodes, that man does not do losses. He doesn't. If only our team was as considered as Ricky is, bless him his predictions. Right, the stat attack sponsored by Anthony Costa. Sheffield United have won their final league game in each of their past 3 seasons. They most recently did it in more consecutive campaigns between 69-70, 73-74, with the 4th game in the run coming against who else? Tottenham. Tottenham have lost in their final league game in only one of the past 13 seasons, with that loss coming against already relegated Newcastle United 2015-2016. And Tottenham won 3-1 in their most recent away league game against Sheffield United, and they won their last consecutive visits to Bramall Lane in December 1975. Look, I want to close the show by saying a truly huge thank you, firstly. Sam, love to see you back on. Only your second appearance, mate. We look forward to having you back on with us in due course. Where can everybody find you? What are you up to, Sam, from your end?
Just going to be taking pictures. I'll be there at the weekend again. But you can find me on all the platforms, Instagram, Twitter, a little bit of TikTok, not too much TikTok, but just as Sam Liam Cornish, all one word. Drop me a line.
Star. Sam, thank you so much, mate. Look forward to having you back on with us more.
Thanks for having me on.
My pleasure, no problem at all. Chris, I want to come over to you and say, Thank you so much. You've become a regular face on Last Word on Spurs, for better or for worse. I'll let it be your decision. But I want to say, from me personally, it's been an absolute pleasure having you join us on a much more frequent basis. I'll probably be driving you more mad next season, given the fact there's extra games, European football. So you're unfortunately locked in now for good. And I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you so much, Chris. Been lovely having you in. I know for you, you know, a lot of love going to the stadium around the globe from football fans. Right, a lot of Spurs fans have been in touch.
Yeah, I honestly, I love being honest. I loved the fact that I'm, part of this with you guys. Met so many incredible, all of you are part of this show are so incredible and genuinely nice people. And at the same time, we're just fans that just love talking about football and our club at the end of the day. And even the comments from everyone, some of you absolutely kill me with the stuff that you say. I don't even know what's going on. It's like all the Greeks have taken over on the comments tonight. But yeah. No, it's been absolutely brilliant, and I'm so proud to be part of this show. And all the things that have happened. Winning the what was it? We won a silver award, didn't we?
Did we? For the podcast award, yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking to myself, what have we won?
Well, we should have won gold, but we'll let off Liverpool because
we will. We was in Liverpool, right? We was in Liverpool. Come on,
had to happen. But it's just been honestly such an amazing experience. Even with I've had people from Premier League, BBC Sport have come and asked me, and it's all because of you guys. So thank you for basically helping me out. So yeah,
love for the love, Chris. Thank you so much. Ricky, my man. Oh, God. We're going to have a bit of fun in a couple of weeks' time. We are. I've got to say, we have got a show we're bringing you in a couple of weeks' time. We'll be letting a lot of people know more about that in due course. But, Rix, you've been with us audio days. I want to say it's now going back 6-7 years, mate. I feel like I've known you all my life. We've aged it together. Although you're coming out better than I am at the moment. There's no doubt about that. Go and ask him how he keeps so young. Can't stand it. Look at the guy. Unbelievable. Rix, I want to say as always, mate, thank you so much for always finding the time in what's always for you, again, massively busy lifestyle, man, with the acting and what you do. So much good things have happened to you this year, mate, and they happen to you because you're just an amazing guy. Such a truly amazing human being that is just, for me, one of the nicest guys you will meet. He's the same on camera as he is off camera. Doesn't change. Just an amazing human being. I want to say, Rick, thank you so much, mate. An absolute true pleasure having you part of this. And yeah, hopefully, mate, we'll get to see happier times with Tottenham, right? You've been part of it for 6-7 years. It has been like a opera that doesn't stop, right? An ongoing soap drama.
Yeah, it is, man. But like you say, man, win, lose or draw, bro. If win, lose or draw, come on you Spurs. At least we can come on a platform where we can share our opinions and we can share how we feel. And even like Chris, you know what I mean? Tonight, it's been a great debate because between this panel right here, you've had one person talking about one side of the fan base, Chris talking about the other side of the fan base, then Sam in the middle giving you, you know what I mean, some really kind of pivotal balance in there. So it's been a great balanced debate. And that's one thing that why I watch the show, why I love being on the show, is that you get to speak with other fans that think and feel different things, but they understand where you come from. And at the end of the day, we all got that love for Tottenham Hotspur. So it's always special to be on, man. And, it's been a while. I've been on now, like you say, from the audio days, but every single show is an honor and a pleasure, brother. So thank you again for having me on. It's been awesome. And like I say, there is going to be brighter days. There will always. It's coming. We've got to believe it. I know that the scars hurt, but let's wipe the scabs away, man. Let's be healed from the past and go in clean next season. You know what I mean? With fresh bodies, fresh minds, ready for the glory to come our way. And fingers crossed, man. Fingers crossed we can make that all happen.
Look, with the two Rickies like this in the universe, do not tell me something is not going to come together and give us the bloody trophies, please.
Come on.
Listen, I want to say, as always, massive thank you to our wonderful audience that have been with us throughout the journey and continue to be with us. We love you all. Thank you so much. Look, from the brilliant Sam Liam Cornish, from the superb Christina Zandis, from the brilliant Ricky J. Norwood, we have been the last one on Spurs. We are nearly there. Get behind the team. And as Corty would say, as always, come on, you Spurs.